Hello there, I'm glad that you're back to 0 to 60 motoring once again. My name is Bill Siotuori, and this is a 2018 Mercedes C-Class, or if you want to sound technical, you can call it the W205. So we've just scouted this car from Mombasa. We've subjected this car to all the checks necessary to ensure that it is in a good mechanical shape, and now we are delivering it to Nairobi. So this is the fourth generation of the Mercedes-Benz. Previously, we had the W202, 203, 204, and now this is the 205. Of course, later on there is a 206. So hang around until the end of this video because I'm going to tell you quite a number of things about this 2018 Mercedes-Benz W205. Zero to 60 motoring makes your car ownership journey easy. If you want to purchase a car, you can check our social media platforms. That is Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and most importantly, YouTube. We've prepared a gazillion of reviews to make your car ownership journey easy. If you want to purchase a car, you can also shoot us a message on the number below. We can scout a clean car for you, so that your car ownership journey becomes easy. All right, here we go. 2018 Mercedes-Benz C-Class review. When you're looking at this Mercedes C-Class, it's quite a stunner and a sleek looking car. When you're looking at the front, you see that we no longer have that hood ornament which used to be on the bonnet. Nowadays, the 3-star emblem is embedded into the large grille. Of course, you have a beautiful looking LED headlamps which also have the daytime running lights, and they look really pretty good. So these are being an AMG line. Of course, it comes with a 18-inch run flat tires. If you're using bad roads, I'll advise that you go for the small ones, with the 17-inch rims. Another thing, because the ground clearance of this car is poor, one thing is that this car comes with an airmatic suspension system, which you can also use to raise the car, especially when you are on a rough terrain. Now, under the hood of this 2018 Mercedes-Benz W205 is a 2000cc turbocharged petrol engine which is called M274. Power outputs are in the region of 184 horsepower and 300 Newton meters of torque. If you want more power, you can step up to the C250, which actually gets a bigger tune, which can do over 200 horsepower. Now, that power is sent to the rear wheels via a 9-speed automatic gearbox. The previous generation or the earlier versions of the 205 used to come with a 7-speed automatic gearbox. So how does the W205, this 2018 variation, look like in terms of driving dynamics and maybe performance? The steering wheel of this car is dead accurate, and of course responds to maneuvers very well. One thing you may also want to learn about this car is that it comes with this column shifter. So sometimes if you are used to Japanese cars, you may find that maybe when you want to indicate, you may throw the car into neutral mode, but with time you get used to that. It's something that is good because it also saves you some space on the center console. It's a car that has very good sound insulation. Once the windows are rolled up, there is not much of exterior noise that is going to encroach the cabin. I feel like it's a very comfortable car, and from my interaction with the C-Class and the rivals in this class, I could say that the C200 basically is built more of comfort rather than performance, but I'll be coming into that element in a few moments. Now, when it comes to driver assistance features, of course, it has a rear vehicle monitoring on the side mirrors. It has a lane keeping assist. It has a front collision mitigation system, which is very important, especially when you are driving on the highway. When I'm looking at the transition of gears in this car, I find these are 9-speed, smoother than the previous 7-speed automatic gearbox. I think that was a very good addition or improvement in this W205. Comparing the earlier generation of the 205, that is the 7-speed, to this 9-speed, I feel like these are very smooth shifting gearbox. And of course, that means that we should be getting better fuel numbers, but I'll be coming into the fuel numbers element in a few moments. When you're on the highway somewhere like Mombasa Road and you need an overtaking move, you just put your foot down, and the 300 Newton meters of torque, of course, comes into life. So while this car is not as powerful as the rivals, I don't think that is something that it's going to be a big deal. Of course, if you've not driven the rivals, the power ratings of this car they are going to take care of you sufficiently, unless and otherwise maybe you've driven the rivals back to back. That is when maybe you realize that this car has slightly lower numbers. But still, for day-to-day usability on the Kenyan roads, I still feel like this one is sufficient for day-to-day living. But of course, if you are an enthusiast and you want a fast car, of course, the Audi A4 is quite tempting with the 250 HP and 370 Newton meters of torque. And the 3 Series, of course, has more power, and those cars will give a Mercedes a massive run for its money. The 0 to 100 kilometers per hour as per the manufacturer is 7.5 seconds. So definitely there are not many cars in the Kenyan roads that can sprint from a standstill to the performance benchmark for acceleration, which is 100 kilometers per hour in 7 point something seconds. So definitely, if you are purchasing this car, it's something you can really live with. The 300 Newton meters of torque, of course, is available from low numbers. That means that overtaking should be an easy thing to go about. This car has 5 driving modes. We have comfort mode, eco mode, sports mode, and individual mode. Of course, under normal driving conditions, you should be keeping the car in comfort mode so that you also get the best fuel numbers, because when you flip the car into sports mode, of course, it tends to hold to high RPMs, and the fuel numbers may not be as good as maybe anticipated. So another thing you may want to like about this car is that the braking capability is also good. For instance, while I'm now doing an overtaking move, overtaking like 6 lorries, you can easily kill that momentum when a car shows up from the opposite side, and then switch into your lane. So that is also something that is very good in this car. This car is a low sitting car. Aerodynamically, it's good. I'm now doing this 120 kilometers per hour, and it doesn't look like I'm doing those speeds. Of course, it tells you that you can easily hit illegal speeds on this car without necessarily the car bringing any dramas to the table. And then another thing is that when you are doing highway speeds where the road is not that smooth, the car takes care of the road imperfections very well. The suspension is tuned better for drivability. Of course, it's on the firm side, but it's not a big deal. There is a reason why the Mercedes C-Class outsells every car in this class, because when you look at the Kenyan market, the W202, 203, 204, and this 205, they pose higher numbers than their competitors. That is the BMW 3 Series and the Audi A4. And that reason is basically reliability. When you look at the Mercedes-Benz C-Class, I can call it the Japanese premium because of its reliability reputation. Because when I'm looking at this C200 with this M274 engine, it is a solid motor. There are not many things that can go wrong with this car, especially if you get a car which has been maintained properly. It is something that should serve you for long without necessarily having any challenges. Of course, there are those challenges that normally come about when a car is old. For instance, with this M274 engine, when it is approaching 200,000 kilometers, you may be seeing issues with oil consumption issues. Sometimes maybe the turbo may fail. Those are minimal issues which come about because of wear and tear. And now another thing which makes this car solid, I've not interacted with this 9-speed gearbox for a long time, but if I can go by the previous 7-speed automatic gearbox. It was a solid gearbox. Yes, these are 9-speed automatic gearbox is smooth and may not shift as quick as something like the 7-speed DSG in the Audi A4, but you can be sure that it's going to outlast an Audi A4 gearbox. So technically, when I'm looking at the Mercedes C200 in terms of dependability and reliability, it has built its name, basically. Let me use that term. And from my experience, Mercedes C200 is easily the class leader when it comes to reliability. So these are C200 MG line. MG line basically does not mean that it comes with the MG performance, but it comes with the MG features. Now, this car comes with the 18-inch run flat tires, while the base model or the entry level comes with the 17-inch rims. So that is a feature of the MG line. Now you can also see that the front has that lip to give it a sporty look. In the interior, you have a flat-bottomed steering wheel, bucket seats, an pneumatic suspension system. So those are the features that make this car an AMG line. Of course, it doesn't come with a sunroof, but that is not a big deal. So a true AMG will be something like the C43 or the C63. So if you see someone on the road with a C200 AMG, basically, you know that is a fake badge. because an AMG should be maybe something like C43, GLE43, C63, E43, those numbers, the performance-oriented versions. The C200, E200, E250, those are a little bit like normal variations for day-to-day operations. They are not performance-oriented. Let me use that term. So if you want to buy a C class, you may also want to learn how the different variation of that is the C180, the C2R, and the C250 diva. Now, the C180 comes with a 1.6 liter turbocharged petrol engine, while the C2R comes with a 2 liter turbocharged engine. And now the difference between the C2R and the C250 is that the C200 is tuned for 184 HP and 300 Newton meters of torque, while the C250 receives a higher tune in terms of the power, because in that car you'll be looking at around 210 HP and 350 Newton meters of torque. So basically what it tells you is that Mercedes this M274 engine, while it's applied in other cars like the GLC 250, the E200, and the C250, they also have a different tunes when it comes to those cars. Let's talk about the features in this C200. Now, when I'm looking at the seats, they are actually bucket seats and they are leather seats. Of course, they have a three-way heated function for both the driver and the co-driver. Another important thing is that this car comes with a it has a memory functions for 3 people. So if you are 3 people using the car, you can always set your setting and store it, and whoever drives the car will not be interfering with your sitting position. But for the owner of this car, he doesn't share out cars, so he doesn't really need to set the car to any memory function. The clusters here actually have a very good graphics. The infotainment system here has many functions. Of course, you have the driving mode selectors from this center console, and of course, because you have a column shifter here, you have lots of space on this center console. So in terms of practicality, when I'm looking at the competition, this class, the C2R is not the most spacious car. Of course, you can tell that inside it's a little bit smaller compared to something like the F4. Of course, drivers will not be having problems in terms of the headroom. The knee room is also good, but on the rear side, the leg room is a little bit limited. And considering that this car is a rear-wheel drive car, then it means that the spacing element is a little bit compromised. Let's talk something about the fuel consumption of this W205. Now, in this car with a 2 liter and an improved 9-speed automatic gearbox, of course, the fuel numbers, according to me, have improved. Because the last time I drove a C250 2014 variation from Mombasa to Nairobi, my average fuel number was 10 kilometers per liter. But now, because the gearbox is now smoother and it has been improved, I'm now seeing figures in the region of 10.5 kilometers per liter. But then, because this car has been sitting for long, the numbers keep on rising. So by the time I'll be in Nairobi, the fuel numbers should be more attractive. You can check out on our Facebook page. Of course, I'm going to post the trip statistics there on how the fuel numbers will look like after the 500 kilometers trip. Now, the pricing of this 2018 Mercedes C200 is in the region of 3.6 to 4 million shillings. That makes it the most expensive car in its class, because the 3 Series, the VW Passat or something like the Audi A4 will be slightly lower. Now, when you're looking at the 3.8 to 4 million price range, cars that you can get at that price tag include the BMW 5 Series, that's the 530. You can also get into an Audi A6. Sometimes if you do your car shopping well, you can also get into an Audi A5. That is the B9 variation. And also there is a new kid on the block that is called the VW Arteon. Now, the reason I mentioned all those cars is that they deliver better performance over the Mercedes C-Class, that is the 205, because they make more power. And the reason I included the BMW 5 Series and the Audi A6 is that they are more practical, especially in terms of the spacing element. Or if you want to go the Japanese way, that budget can still accommodate a 2018 Toyota Crown Athlete RS variations. A 2018 version will be costing around 3.5 to 3.8 million shillings, and it brings to the table more power and more space, and most importantly, it tags along Toyota's reliability reputation. And for those people who've not driven Crowns from year 2014 or later, Those cars also bring very many things to the table. So when I'm looking at the value for money element of the Mercedes C200 in terms of what it brings to the table versus the rivals and what the rivals can do, of course, it is more reliable than the rivals in its class. But when you are looking at cars in a higher class that are priced dissimilarly, then it means that you have to be a Mercedes fan for you to purchase the C200. So who should buy the Mercedes C200? When I'm looking at this car, it is a classy and good looking car which will impress someone who's after reliability, because for the C-Class, they have never compromised on reliability. It is a good car for someone who's looking for something that is compact and not that bulky. It has, of course, good fuel numbers, if you ask me, compared to all the cars that I've mentioned before. So this car is going to tick your boxes. If you want a reliable car, a fuel efficient car, and something that looks pretty good. But if you want a more powerful car, of course, I've given you the alternatives. You can also consider them. So that is a short review of this 2018 Mercedes C200 AMG line. If you have a question about this car, you can shoot it on the number below, or you can reach out on our social media platforms. If you also want a review of the rivals, you can check the full comprehensive review of the Audi A4 on on our YouTube channel. We have a detailed review of that car. I think that is enough for today, guys. I'll see you on the next one on 0 to 60 Motoring. Bye for now.